students. Today we'll be looking at the course on suppliers research, market analysis, and negotiation skills. The introduction. This period of time, we're going to be looking at what is supplier research, market analysis, and of course negotiation. Uh, and at the end of this course, we are going to appreciate the following course outlines. We are going to go through all of them, one after the other. There are about 10 different course outlines. We'll start from the market research. We're talking about the market analysis as well as negotiations in its entirety. And then at the end of this class, we are going to give you an assignment that you are going to do it in the class. The learning objectives includes understand the process for compilation of annual procurement needs, apply the supply positioning model, and appreciate negotiation principles and its relevance. The learning outcomes. At the end of this course, students will be able to carry out supply market research on your own and later be able to do analysis. Represent your organizations in negotiation opportunities, which I know many of you will be interested to be part of. You'll be able to design your annual procurement manuals and develop market structure for effective procurement performance with your various organizations. Today we'll be looking at supply market. Supply market is a marketplace where suppliers and buyers come together to trade goods and services. The market can be physical or visual as the case may be. So a supply market is a collection of suppliers that comes together to trade business with the buyer. But we are doing the supply market in a procurement environment. So the role of procurement is to source and of course select suppliers, negotiate contracts and manage supplier performance. So these are the reasons why procurement officers need to understand the market extensively and be able to do analysis of the market so to enable them to take the right decisions that will enhance performance in their various organizations. Key components of supplier market: supplier base, pricing, quality, delivery times, reputation, and customer service. These are basic components of the supply market environment. Now, what is the scope? Many projects run into problems because they are not well defined. Project managers start with enthusiasm, hoping that things will get clearer as work progresses. So it is very important that you must have to have a scope so that you're not able to go beyond your levels or spend so much money, wasting so much resources on what is not necessary. So you must have to define your scope and you must have to know what you want to do, why you want to do it, and at the same time the extent to which you want to go about it. So it is very important that is what I said, you have to define what are your requirements. Then you have to allocate the responsibilities, negotiate the terms, and of course review the contract before you can go into signing the contract. So you are going to see, look at this material will be available to you. So you'll be able to have more understanding on the market analysis, market research analysis, as well as the scope. And this one will look at needs assessment. Needs assessment refers to the process where the procuring entity combines the annual purchasing requirements estimated by its department or administrative units. Every department has a need. So there's a need for you to do an assessment of the needs of a department for the organization's management to approve before the procurement process can actually start. There are 5 level stages that you have to look at. The gather evidence, analyze your evidence, brainstorming in order to contribute from other departments. Then you have to get to a root cause. Why do you need those items? And then of course you now determine next steps for improvement in order to enhance productivity or production in your workplace environment. So you can still go back to this document thereafter. Then this course also takes us to spend analysis, which is about examining procurement and spend with the aim to decrease costs, increase efficiencies, as well as better understand the supply, market, and source of supply. So spend analysis is also very, very important by procurement entities in order for them to identify cost-saving measures and then, of course, manage the risks that are inherent in the purchases in order to ensure performances. So you take a critical look at these figure of on-spend analysis. I'm sure by the time you go through it, you'll be able to have better understanding of this. How robust are the processes and all the likes, so that the spend analysis you have good understanding. And look, I have also some videos here that you're going to look at or watch on your own. Okay? And I'm sure that, these videos are going to give you very salient points that you can take home after this course. Then also it's very important for you to appreciate supply positioning. How does the company want the suppliers, how do the company want to place their organizations in the mind of the suppliers? Okay, so it is very important that the organization understand who the suppliers are and how did the supplier view their organization, the organization they want to do business with. And of course, I have a video here for you as well that you can also look at. Okay, watch this video. Make sure you ensure that you take great time and watch this video. They are going to be quite helpful to you. There are four categories of supply positioning. You have the strategic security, you have the strategic critical, you have the tactical acquisitions as well as the tactical profit. And this is where you have a matrix or supply positioning model where you relate your supply risk with your potentials to add in value to whatever business you want to do. So take a critical analysis of this and then you will appreciate what supply positioning is all about. So at this point, we'll look at market research and market engagement. You know, it is very important that when you are carrying out market research, the organizations who want to engage must have to engage with the market. Engaging with the market means that you have to source for information. And there are two ways through which you can source for information: through market sounding as well as market consultation. So you need to have a feel of not in the individual supplier, but the industry of suppliers, so that you're able to know, have understand the competitive nature of that particular industry. So in the scope of market analysis, you have to look at segmentation of the market sector analysis, and dynamics as well as the market trends. So like I said about market engagement, okay, market sounding and market consultations, it is very important, very, very important. Okay, you need information for you to be able to carry out market research and do a sound analysis. So I have a video for you here as well that you can also go through, and you'll have better understanding of what I meant by that. Now, when you are carrying out market research, it is very important that you understand the nature of the market. And there are types of competitive market that we have. We have the perfect competition, the imperfect competition, we have the oligopoly, monopoly, as well as the monopsony. So with this table, you'll be able to have understanding the number of suppliers in each of these competitive markets. You'll be able to have the market power, what gives them strength, okay, why one has to dominate the other. Then what are the substitutes, alternatives that you have? Then price determination, the price leader, the level of price competition in the market, and then the profit level as well as the barrier to entry the market. The barrier to entry market varies from competitive market to another. So take a critical look at this table and then have a better understanding of these types of competition in the market environment. Then this takes us to supplier preference tool, which is a tool that helps the procurement entity in assessing how a supplier views them. How does the supplier view the procuring entities? So, and depending on this view, the supplier is likely to behave either to effect a change to become more attractive to the market or motivate the market to bid and provide a good solution. So it is very important that supplier preferencing is a tool that is generally used by the procuring entity in the marketplace environment. The context analysis and capability of assessment is also very important, because there is nothing you can achieve in the procurement world without understanding the environment where you're actually operating. So it behoves on you to carry out a context analysis so as to be able to understand the environment and then be able to know to have a competitive advantage. Because if you have a good understanding, then you'll be able to have a competitive advantage, most especially to a sustainable level. So how do you do that? We have two tools that we have expressed in this lecture. which is the pistol that has to do with the external environment where we operate, as well as the SWOT analysis, which helps to analyze your internal mechanism to be able to make sure whether you have what it takes to be able to compete in that environment. Then the pistol, which is an acronym for political, economic, social, technological, and environment, which is ecological in most cases. So you take a critical look at this, you must have to have understanding of this a PE, procurement entity. So the pistol as well as the SWOT analysis will be able to give you understanding about each of these organizations, the suppliers that you're actually using to supply goods or works or services to your organizations. So you don't have to work by presumption. You have to have understanding so that the supplier you're going to choose at the end of the day for negotiation, you know that they are the ones that are actually good for you to negotiate with. So at this point, we'll be talking about negotiation skill. There is nothing you can do with supply as a P without negotiation, because that is where you'll be able to manage your resources. And you know, naturally, before you negotiate, there's always something that is contentious. All right? There is something that is contentious. So because in that environment, you as a PE, you are not the only one that's looking for that supplier. And that supplier is not to just one supplier in the market. It's not monopoly. It's not monopolistic, sorry. So at the end of the day, there is that conflict. There is that traditional conflict. And so the conflict is something that is contentious. There's that competition at the same time. Okay? So the market is a competitive environment. So where cannibalization takes place seriously among the suppliers, even among the PEs at the same time. So, but with all these life conflicts, confrontations, fighting with sword, tug of war, arguing, wrestling on table, different thinking, all these life conflicts takes place in the market environment while we are trying to look for the best supplier at a very minimal cost in order to ensure performance in the organization. Then after all those conflicts, what happens? There is time to negotiate. Okay? So this document provides you negotiation methods, negotiation skills, negotiation approach, and I also provided some videos for you that you can use to ensure that this topic on negotiation will give you a better understanding on how to go about your your business. These are the characteristics of a negotiation. There are so many of them that I've outlined on this document that is good for you. Best negotiation practices, you have to prepare, you have to exchange, you have to bargain, you have to draw a conclusion, and then you have to what? You have to execute. So this is the best approach that you have in the negotiation method. So there are three stages of negotiation. You have pre-negotiation stage, which has to do with things that you have to do before you go into negotiation. What are your expectations? What do you want to gain? Whom are you negotiating with? What compromise are you willing to make? Because in every negotiation, you must have to compromise. It is very important. What strategies or approach do I have to adopt? So it is very important. Competing, collaborating, or accommodating, which one do you want to adopt in the course of these negotiations? So from the pre-negotiation, you now go to negotiation proper. Now, at the negotiation stage, there are four levels of negotiation, things that you have to do. Exchange information, you have to communicate. The person who you want to negotiate with, you have to avail that organization certain information about your organization. Very important. And those things has to be clarified. Whereby they have to ask questions, you must be available to provide questions to the person that you want to negotiate with. Then after clarifications of certain gray areas, what do you have to do? Then you have to go into bargaining proper. And that's when the true negotiation begins. Then after you must have done with your bargaining, what do? You sign an agreement and then you close the system. At that point, that's when you refer to a happy moment when the deal is sealed after you must have signed agreement. And then finally, you have the implementing course of actions. This is how, who, and when implementation of the signed agreement is carried out. So negotiation does not just end at the point of signing agreement. It goes beyond that. It also has to do with implementations. Trust and future relationship is determined and consequent for future deals. So when you are negotiating and you are sealing the negotiation, also consider the future. What relationship are we building? Are we going to sustain the relationship on this basis and all that? But in a situation where there is a failure in agreement, what do? You resort to a partner. That's the best alternative to negotiated agreement. So you don't just abandon the whole process in its entirety. So what do? You enter into best. What is the alternative to negotiated agreement? That could be political. It can be any form of alternatives. But that alternatives must be there and must be considered. That's how you have this diagram. If you look at this diagram very well, this figure where you see that the seller's worst case, where there is no agreement, where there's an issue, the challenge. So seller must have an alternative. This is the seller's partner. And then of course here, where the buyer has the worst scenario, what do? The buyer must also have his own alternatives. So at the point of meeting, there must always be a point of meeting. That's where you have this over here. So when you look at settler settlement range and then buyer settlement range, so at this point there must be an agreement, and then everybody can go home celebrating and being happy to themselves. There are theories that normally we have that underpins negotiations, and largely we make use of the theories of negotiation by uh, Fury, Fisher and Horry's principle of negotiation. So that is very important, and this is backed by four very strong and powerful principles. Fury, Fisher, and Horry is saying that in every negotiation, you must separate the people from the problem. You must focus on interest, not position, not status. Then you must invent options for mutual gains. Don't be selfish when you are going for negotiation. Don't put yourself in front of negotiations. Put the interests of everyone on the negotiation table. And finally, Fisher and Horry is saying that insist on using objective criteria. Use objective criteria. And that is what the principles of negotiation according to Fisher and Horry. And there are several approaches to negotiations, which I also have on this table. So take a critical look at this table and ensure that you study it very well. And I also have a video there for you that you can also access and then align that video with this table of approach to negotiation by Kissinger 1969. And it is still very relevant till today, everything that Kissinger has said. Then what are the skills of negotiation? We have two types. We have personal negotiation skill and integrative skills. The personal negotiation skill deals with your level of communication and your assertiveness, your humorous. You won't have to be humorous. You don't go to negotiation with stern face as if you are going for war. No. You must be flexible, you must be honest, and you must go with a mindset of win-win. So that personal negotiation skill is sine qua non, is very compulsory and it's very important. And then of course the integrative skill, which has to do with ability for persuasion, think, creative, and then of course sense of judgment, positive mindset. The structure for negotiation as expressed there is preparation and planning. So for every negotiation you must prepare, you must plan. That is what we have to talk about, the pre-negotiation stage that we talked about the other time. Then you must be able to define your concept. What do you want? How do you want? You must define it for everybody in the organization to be able to understand, to have an understanding. And then there are ground rules that cannot be broken during negotiations. So those ground rules must be there. Then of course clarifications and justifications. And then before you now come to the bargaining and problem solving, that is the nitty-gritty. That is the point at which we look at the document, we cross the T's and dot the I's. And then finally, closure and then implementation. That's the structure that we have. And then styles of successful negotiator. When you are going for negotiation, two things matters. You look at the importance of relationship, whether it is high relationship or low relationship, or you look at the importance of outcome. What are your expectations? Is it very high or it's quite low? So in a situation whereby your relationship and your outcome is high and low, then you are talking about accommodating. So you must try to accommodate certain things from your from the supplier, the person you are negotiating with. So in the course of that, you have to try as much as well to lose certain things in order for somebody to win. But if you are collaborating between, that means your relationship is high as well as your outcome is equally high. So that is where you have a win-win situation whereby you are collaborating. Two of you are partnering. Two of you is a matter of you win, I win. And that is the best that we can also offer in these times of successful negotiation. Then you have the compromise whereby you will split differences. You lose, I lose. Then avoiding, there's something we need to avoid. And then competitive, whereby you talked about low relationship and then high outcome. So for this competitive nature where you win at, I must win at all costs, you know that the relationship after you must have won, the relationship is zero. That might be the end of the relationship, the end of doing business with that organization because you must win at all costs. And I think I advise that we try as far as possible to avoid this sort of style of successful negotiator. So let's go for the collaborative where everybody is a winner and then everybody can go and smile. So conclusively, conclusion, good negotiations contribute significantly to business success. They help you build better relationships. Negotiating requires give and take that will lead to a win-win for both partners. So don't go into negotiation with the intention that you must win. I must win at all costs. No, avoid it. Let everybody be a winner, and then our relationship can be stronger. So a good negotiation leaves each party satisfied and ready to do business with each other again. So don't go for one-time negotiation, one-time business. There's always a room for us to negotiate and do things together. So, students, I have some materials here for you that you can visit, some videos here as well. These are references that I've also provided in the course of this lecture. So, you take a look at it, take your time, and then you read it. And then at the end of this course, there's going to be questions that you are going to attempt to show that you're actually following us in this course. So, thank you very much.